On this Saturday morning, I'm Seth Merrow. Thanks for joining us. A little bit later this morning, we will be joined by Brad Cox, trainer Brad Cox. He has entrance in both of the stakes races this afternoon at Churchill Downs, so certainly we'll preview those, but I also wanted to get a little update on a couple of comebackers that impressed over the past couple of weeks, Monomoy Girl and Owendale. So we'll catch up, see how they came out of their respective really nice-looking wins again over the past couple of weeks down at Churchill. So Brad Cox coming up a little bit later on. After that, Dave Rodman from Laurel. Laurel back in the mix. Maryland Racing kicks back off today, so we'll have Dave Rodman set the table on the return of Laurel Racing a little bit later on. So looking forward to a discussion with him as, again, the reawakening is underway for horse racing. Belmont Park kicks back off June 3rd, this coming Wednesday. The training track, the Oklahoma training track right up here in Saratoga.
Thank you.
Will kick off on middle of next week as well. So things are opening back up. And given the situation over the past couple of months, I thought we'd start the show off today talking to one of the prominent owners in the country, Terry Finley from West Point Thoroughbreds, and just get some perspective on how things have affected their operation over the past couple of months and what what it all looks like going forward. Terry, good morning.
Hello, Seth. It's great to be on, and it is great to hear the words Saratoga will be opening.
Yeah.
So we all take a lot of pleasure in that, that's for sure.
Just the little things this year, right? When they sent out that press release yesterday that the Oklahoma was reopening, everybody was jumping for joy.
It's just nuts. You know, one of the things I've talked about, and I really think we're going to all realize, all of us that love this crazy business that we call thoroughbred horse racing, I think we're all going to really appreciate it a lot more going forward. You know, I'm not saying that we took it for granted, but it certainly will be a lot more clear how special this game is, and the privilege that we have to participate is, I think, really something that we all need to think about a lot more.
I think you're absolutely right. Let's go back a couple of months. Now we've been kind of hunkered down with very limited racing. West Point Thoroughbreds, again, one of the most prominent syndicates and partnerships in the game. You race at tracks all around the country. I had you on either the end of the year or the beginning of this year, and that day I had you on, I had reviewed. I think you had winners over the past 4 or 5 weeks before that, 7 or 8 different tracks. And so obviously the landscape changed quite a bit in the past couple of months. So from an owner's perspective, in what ways did it affect your operation?
Well, it really caused us to step back and say, okay, what are the things that we can influence? And it became very clear that there weren't very many things that we could influence, especially with the government and the health department. So we really resigned ourselves to the fact that we were going to focus on ensuring that we were doing everything we can to take care of our horses. And I know that everybody says that, but what does that mean? Just ensuring that our trainers knew that we weren't going to get impatient, and ensuring that our partners we're still in the game. So we did podcasts, we did Zoom calls. We really tried to give them the flavor of the game and to not sugarcoat it, Seth. We were all faced with a tough situation, and we didn't sugarcoat it, and we just said, we're going to do everything we can to get through this. But I will tell you, I think we're all optimistic to be in the horse racing game, but it was a tough period. It was a tough period, and I am really sincerely proud of our industry as a whole for all the great things that we've done in the last couple of months. And I think the future is bright for all of us.
And I know you have relationships with plenty of other owners in the game. Some of them have jumped into your partnerships as well. What was kind of the overall sentiment over the past couple of months from some of the other people you talked to in the game?
Yeah, I think by and large they had the same outlook. But then again, you had a small subset that they saw this as a pivot point, to either, unfortunately, get out of the game because we lost some owners. I'd like to think with the added exposure that we've had, we're going to pick up some people both on the betting side and on the owner side. I think that already has happened. I think we see from the data. And shakeouts, they're not always good, but they're not always bad. It's kind of given all of us a chance to hit the pause button, but also to hit the reset button. And anytime you can reset and you can look at what is, in essence, been a petri dish for us to, as an industry, to take a look at, hey, is our schedule correct? Can we improve our schedule? Can we improve, the things that we're doing and we've done for a long time just because? I think that's really exciting, because I'm not sure that data and that's going to become clear in the next 6 months. But in the next couple of years, it could become clear, who knows? Maybe we need to take a harder look at the Triple Crown and to see, and I know it's sacrilegious the first Saturday in May, but you know what? If it's not the first Saturday in May and it's the first Saturday in September, we'll make do. We'll make it work overall. So I think that's a few of the things that I've taken away, as have other owners in the business.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see how the Triple Crown Series plays out this year, because we're probably stuck with the first Saturday in May for the Derby going forward, but it wouldn't surprise me if different spacing, given what potentially might happen this year. It'll be very interesting to see. And I'm wondering, as a guy in a partnership, whether you have all kind of sat down and thought about this at all now, but as you mentioned, and just reading the news over the past couple of months, a lot of small owners, obviously with no place to race and horses that had to be fed and taken care of, may fall by the wayside. But I'm wondering if on the partnership side, you're looking at maybe there's some potential there. Guys who were small owners and liked the action but couldn't make it on their own may now jump into the partnership side of the game.
Yes, and we've seen a little bit of that. And I appreciate the fact that while they've had it rough, they still want to support the game. And while they also want to keep going because they love it and it's exciting and all those other things. But it's a punishing game on the financial side. We all know that. We talk about it ad nauseum. But yes, I definitely agree with your outlook that people are looking for other ways to stay in. And, we all say it costs, the exact same thing to take care of a 12-5 claimer as it does a grade 1 stake horse outside of insurance. But the basic daily rate is exactly the same, irrespective of the level that the horse is at. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And obviously I'm a big partnership guy, but I think it's the way of the future. And there's some good partnerships out there. And I think one of the things I'm seeing, Seth, is that people are really starting to understand. I'm talking about the people who start partnerships. They're understanding the mechanics, I think, better, and I'm seeing fewer of them fizzle out as quickly as we did, say, 10 years ago. And I think that's a positive. I think anytime we have an entity, although they're competition for a company like ours, it's good because they probably are bringing in more people than a smaller group of partnerships would bring in. And we all know we need two things in a big, big way. We need more bettors and we need even more owners. So anything that does that is a plus in my mind.
Yeah, no question about it. I'm curious if you had the same idea I did. I was worried about the end of March, just when Fairgrounds was closing down and they were going through a little bit of a tough period in Florida for 3 or 4 days. I thought we might lose racing altogether. And I've said over the past couple of weeks, just reflecting back, hats off to Gulfstream, Tampa, Oaklawn, and little Will Rogers, and especially little Fonner for putting some protocols in place and tweaking them when necessary, but just to keep racing going. And with no other sports were available, I think we got some nice exposure over the past couple of months because of those tracks.
Yes, I could not agree more, Seth, with those tracks that you just named. They became our industry's, our North Star. And that, all the different jurisdictions that we're dealing with their health departments, both on the city, county, state level, and also the state governments. I know and we all know that those tracks that were opening and operating and working to build on the best practices, like everybody was looking to them, and they set a great example for all of us. And I really think that they, as you just said, I think they probably saved racing, and in some respects, and in other respects, they accelerated our return. So I think we'll be forever grateful for that small group of tracks that really wouldn't take no. And I know it wasn't easy, like at Gulfstream. I know the city that the track is in, Owendale. I know that they weren't too accommodating, but they did it, and it was they willed it across the line, so to speak, and that was a great thing.
Yeah, it's certainly been fun to watch. Like I say, a little fonder passing the $100 million handle mark last week was just incredible to watch. I'm curious, as an owner, I don't know the answer to this from reading over the past couple of months. As an owner, have you been able to go to the backside and visit horses?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't. I'm I've been in Kentucky. We kind of split our time, and I'm the head of the chaplaincy in New York,
Sure.
which is, I'd love to, at some point in the future, just, get some of the people that have been on the grounds. It's been fascinating and just, humbling and inspiring to see the work that they've done. There are 1,100 people that work on the backstretch at Belmont, of which like 600 of them live there, and the balance come every day. So I haven't been. I can't wait to get back. I can tell you that. But they, with the restrictions, I just thought it was best to not be in a position where I was doing something that other owners couldn't do or weren't allowed to do. So, but we'll all have a chance to get back as soon as possible, especially to the backside. I think it's the backside. I think will be looked at a little differently, especially for owners to visit than the front side. So, but we'll get that all worked out.
Well, I'm curious also, are you going to be watching closely Gulfstream? They just announced that they're going to start letting owners on track to watch races, and I would think everybody will be watching, and if that, quote-unquote experiment works, I think that may spread to some of the other tracks, and at least we'll get owners on board to be able to watch their horses.
Yes, I saw that, and I saw they all have to be in the vicinity of the tiki bar.
Yeah.
So if we get Tom Bellhouse, if we send down here, I know he loves that tiki bar area. So yeah, that's the first step. And we have a couple. The 1863 Club, of course, we won up at Saratoga, Seth. But I think it's going to be imperative, right? We can't get too far out in front. I know we certainly owners put the money up to buy horses, but I just want to also, certainly I'm sure everybody does. We want to be fair to the bettors, and we know how much of a pilgrimage people embark in when they come to Saratoga, and I think that's a fine line. I wouldn't want it just to be only owners for the whole meet, and I certainly hope we have a shot, albeit at a reduced rate or a reduced level, to get fans in to see the horses at Saratoga. I think that would be great. But then again, I know that people are looking at data, and they've been, really put themselves in a position where they're going to just try to make great decisions at every turn. And I do. I have faith in the NYRA group and the state. Everybody seems to be working together really, really well. So, I think when the calendar turns to August and we will have had a couple weeks at Saratoga to figure things out a little bit better, I'd love to think that there'll be blue skies ahead for owners and trainers as well as bettors and fans.
Yeah, this is such an evolving kind of a situation. As you say, the data changes day to day. There's no telling what might happen, so we'll keep our fingers crossed, certainly. Another area that West Point very involved in, the sales, the 2-year-old sales. Obviously, the Ocala sales have missed a couple of their marks, but they're coming back next week with some workouts, and then June 9th through the 12th, they will have a sale. It sounds like general public won't be invited to the grounds, but buyers can. Buyers also be able to watch the workouts and bid online. Are you expecting to participate down at Ocala, and how will you do so?
So we will. We have the advanced team. The brief show starts tomorrow, Seth, and so I'll be down. I'm going down a little bit later on in the week, and we'll just try to be as protected as possible and safe as possible. And we, I think that's the other thing. We're going to demand of ourselves that we act in a responsible way to make sure other people at the sale are safe and aren't put into any danger because of our actions. And I think if we all do that, we're going to be fine. And but it's a different world. You have especially the pinhookers, the people that are from Ocala, and they go to the yearling sales with the intent to buy horses to sell at the 2-year-old sales. And there's a lot of pain been inflicted with all the changes and the delays and the cancellations of sales. So, and they're an integral part of the ecosystem, because those pinhookers buy a lot of horses in the middle of the market. I'm talking about yearlings that are going forward. But in order for that group to go back to the yearling sales a little bit later on in 2020, right, they need to have sold their horses, and not all for a profit, but they need to have got that inventory moved to end users, i.e., people like operations like ours, and they need to have, or to be in a position where they reload their pocketbook, so to speak. So, in a sense, it's a delicate ecosystem, and I'm really intrigued and interested how that there is going to be interrupted by this. But there's still plenty of people that are looking for good horses, and there again, we talked about the Triple Crown, and maybe this will give us a clear indication that we're too early with our 2-year-old sales, and that we, the extra 2 months of not really putting the kind of pressure we do in, say, April and March. Maybe that will show us that we really have a great opportunity to push our 2-year-old sales back. So that Petri dish again, I think, could be very beneficial to us.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about the sales side, but you're right. We'll have a new perspective to kind of reflect on there, too. And it's going to be very, very interesting. I think all eyes will be on this Ocala sale to see how it does and how the industry gets back into the sales game. All right, let's turn to, before we let you go, a little more fun topic, some winners and some horses from West Point Thoroughbreds. And when I reached out to you yesterday to be on, I was in here doing the handicapping show, and we're going to watch the first race down at Churchill yesterday, because West Point's colors came through in race 1 at Churchill on Friday afternoon. Jungle Warfare, nice late run, the 1-horse, part of an entry in here, but gets it done with Joel Rosario on board. Jungle Warfare, a 5-year-old runner. I think this put the horse over $250,000 in earnings. We can see him on the outside here making that nice late sustained run. Had to be a nice way to start off the day, albeit being a claiming race. He wound up in somebody else's barn at the end of the day.
Yes, he did, and it was exciting. He's been a hardy horse. We bought him at a 2-year-old sale. It's by Animal Kingdom, Seth. And I think one of the things, that I derive a lot of enjoyment out of is, as the races unfold, just seeing in my mind if they synchronize. Like, and I'll give you an example. If you get outrun down the backside, you're like, either something's wrong or there's a fast pace, and then you hear Travis in the announcer stand say they went a half in 44 and change, and you're still like 10 lengths out of it, and you're like, okay, this could set up really well for us. You certainly don't want to be 10, 12 lengths out of it when they go 47 and change. But, so it was good. He's, Joel Rosario, boy, he is riding, better than I've ever seen him ride. He just is in a different zone. He's just, I was talking to his agent yesterday, and they just couldn't be happier with all the things that are coming together. And that was another very, very solid and heady ride by Joel. So when things come together, that's what we're in the business for, right? That last 10 seconds when you're going to take a trip to the winner's circle, or albeit in a virtual way. That's still a lot of fun to win races.
Also want to touch on a nice little debut runner you had within, the last 2 weeks down at Tampa. This is a maiden special event, 7 furlongs. Always a tough distance to debut at,
yep.
But Hot Mist got it done for you guys. First time out of the box, bitonalist, out of a Roddy Valente homebred, Hot Stones. And this is a pretty good-looking debut. Wins by a chart margin, 2.5. How did Hot Mist come out of the race, and what might be next for her?
Well, I've always been a big fan of the Roddy Valente program overall. We're friends. We've owned some horses together, and just a great guy and a real credit to our industry. And it was great. He texted me right after the race, and that was a good hard knocking mare that he bred. And we had her very close to the races last year at Saratoga, and she developed a little issue that probably would not have prevented us from taking her over to the paddock, but we just said, those are the kind of horses that you want to give a chance to, and if you squeeze the lemon as a 2-year-old and something's not 100% right, that they usually aren't going to come back and be as good as you think they are. So although it's a tough go to spend another 6 or 8 months on them in terms of paying and trying to get them back to the races, it's a very fulfilling thing. And I know Christophe, and that's his program, and that's when you look at owners that have been successful, they make those kind of decisions. So I will tell you, I'm still learning, and I'm always open, and that's one of the things I do the most is really look at what smart owners do with their good horses or their prospective good horses, and it's a pretty set program. The one thing you do is you let Mother Nature take care of them, and vets can do a lot of things. They just can't do what Mother Nature does, and by that I mean just giving them time. And when they do that and it works out, it's magic.
And again, being Christophe Clement, I would expect up in New York for Hot Mist.
Yes, and they can't wait to get up here. They're probably going to be lined up on Union Avenue, backed up just like the crowd on Traverse Day, trying to get into Oklahoma, because it's people love owners and trainers and their staff. It's a beautiful place to come to, and I'm so glad that everybody worked together to get Oklahoma open, and it'll be great to walk those grounds, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just nice to think, hey, horses back in Saratoga, and that'll be the case next week. All right, want to hit also on Decorated Invader, your really nice 2-year-old from last year that looked pretty good. In the 3-year-old debut, this was the Cutler Bay back on March 28th down at Gulfstream. Decorated Invader is going to be the number 10 horse here. Coming off the 4th place finish in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, where just so wide turning into the stretch, the 4th place finish in that Breeders' Cup, given the trip, the wide off the turn on that course, that was a great 4th place finish. But again, nice win in the seasonal debut, now 3 wins, 5 starts. And looking at your website, which again I've commended you on before, but certainly for partners in the partnership, but just for people who maybe have a favorite West Point horse they want to follow, you guys make it easy with entries and results, but also looking out ahead to where horses might turn up. And it looks like potentially Decorated Invader headed for Belmont Stakes Day in the Pennine Ridge.
Sure is. And I would say, interestingly enough, we contemplated in a pretty serious way taking this colt to Ascot, because with their abbreviated schedule, they had 3 of their 3-year-old colt classics all scrunched together. So unlike a normal year where the top horses could participate in all 3, they're literally like 21 days apart. So we thought we would take advantage of that, and then one thing led to another, and just I'm not saying that they took aim at the U.S. horses, but there won't be. I don't think there'll be much in the way participation. I think in large part because they had their restrictions and all of a sudden the quarantines and all that. So anyway, we're back to running at Belmont, and we're glad about that. We walk them right out of their stall, and it's a tough thing when we've been talking about since last summer when he won the Grade 1 up at Woodbine. We had said let's put a big circle around the New York Turf Triple, and that's still going to go off, I believe. They're not going to be $1 million races, but we're not going to cry in our milk about that. We're just going to be thankful we got a good 3-year-old, and we just have to figure out, and we'll see in short order just how good he is. But he's exciting, and they're very hard to get. We all know, Seth, right? They're very hard to get your hands on. Those horses that can go far and do it against quality horses and can stay sound and healthy. It's when everything comes together, as I mentioned, boy, it is a thing of beauty, and we should have a great summer with Decorated Invader.
Well, that's a perfect segue, though, when everything comes together, because I did want to touch on also tomorrow the Santa Maria out at Santa Anita. Talk about a nice horse, West Point Thoroughbred's Hard Not to Love, already a Grade 1 winner. This is a 4-year-old mare. But, Terry, while we talk, we're going to take a look at her winning the Grade 1 La Brea at the end of last year. Hard Not to Love is going to be the number 7 horse. She comes off a second-place finish last time in the Beholder behind Cece. Cece subsequently went out and won the Apple Blossom, and Cece's back tomorrow. This is a field of 5, but with your horse Hard Not to Love and Cece tomorrow, this is a really nice, fun edition of the Santa Maria. What are your thoughts on the race tomorrow?
Well, I can tell you when I got the alert, I rolled it down, the overnight, and I rolled it down, and I was like, please don't give us the 1 hole. Please don't. And what do you know? We're 1 out of 5. But, last time she broke a little sharper than she had, and she just kind of inherited the lead. And look, we just got outrun. We were second best that day. I'm really not a fan of excuses, right? Usually when you get beat, you're just not the best horse on that day, and that's it. All the excuses really go out the window. So that's one thing you'll learn when you get around us is, just give credit to the winner. I give credit to CC. I appreciate the fact we got another shot against her tomorrow, and I think I think that rivalry is really starting to brew out there. And I love the fact that CC is she ran really well and really hard at Oaklawn and had to ship back. So maybe that will that could be the deciding factor. I'm sure. I just love the fact that we've had plenty of time, and we're going to fire our best shot and see if we can get the job done.
Yeah, we wish you a lot of luck there. As I say, it's a short field, but you talk about quality, and part of that is your very nice Grade 1 winner, Hard Not to Love. Terry, before we let you go, you alluded to it earlier, but back in, February or a little bit earlier this year, you were named the chairman of the racetrack chaplaincy. Ramon Dominguez named the president. Our friend Humberto Chavez, of course, the chaplain. We've had him on plenty of times up at Saratoga talking about the good work they do. And certainly during this tough time for the backstretch workers with no racing and the situations down in New York, the chaplaincy really played a part in that. They had a promotion going up, and we'll throw up a graphic on that. You can go to shop.naira.com and get a Tough T-shirt, Saratoga Tough or Belmont Tough, and that the proceeds go to benefit either the chaplaincy, Belmont Child Care, or Best Backstretch Employees Service Team. And Terry, just once again, as the chairman of the chaplaincy, you touched on it a little bit a few moments ago, but again, tip your cap. I'll allow you to do that to the chaplaincy because they did a great job during a tough time in the backstretch. Yes,
it's you read about it and you just start to get a sense of just the yeoman's job that they did, Seth, and they continue to do. It's not like there's an end game. There are 600 people live on the backside every day that still have. A vast majority of them are not from America, so they've got those challenges and to keep in contact with back home, to keep their health, to work on their health, to work on their finances, to work on actually, getting them fed and all those things. Like I really had no idea. I really didn't. And it just takes your breath away when you think about how dedicated, Chaplain Umberto and I call him Chaplain Nick, but Nick, right, who runs around Saratoga 7 days a week, and all the other people. And the one thing that strikes you is, right, nobody's doing it for any attention or any accolades. They're just doing it to take care of their fellow human beings. And, when we haven't really been exposed to this type of, tragedy, if you will, and to see the people that have stood up and said, I'm going to make a difference, like that really, really, reinstills and reignites the confidence in the human race that we're especially and reignites the excitement over the greatest country on earth. And I know that might sound Pollyannish, but when you see these people and you see the smiles and the looks on the backside workers when they have a full meal and they've got some stuff that they can put into their room and they know that they're healthy because they're being tested and they know that their work environment is safe. Like, what else is better than that? Money, accolades, fame, winning races. I will tell you that the last couple months have really, driven home a new meaning of what this, what the business is all about, and the goodness of the people that participate in racing. I know it has reaffirmed the fact that, I never want to do anything else. And, how many people are in that position? I'm 56 years old, and I just, this has really reignited my, I've always been passionate about the business, but I'll give everything for this business because it's been so good to me. And I think we all would benefit from trying to figure out how to give back. And there are plenty of ways. So I just offer that to people that derive enjoyment and a living out of racing to do just that. Find a way to give back.
Well said. And Terry, we appreciate you taking the time this morning. We wish you good luck. We mentioned Hard Not to Love tomorrow, but you have a number in today at Churchill as well, one down at Gulfstream. So good luck with the runners. Good luck going forward, and we will talk to you again.
So I'll see you at Saratoga, Seth.
That's the game plan.
Yes, sir.
Terry, appreciate it. Terry Finley from West Point Thoroughbreds. We'll take a break. When we come back, trainer Brad Cox, he has some runners in the stakes today at Churchill Downs. We'll preview those and more. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Hits apart as they move down the backstretch.
And he guides him down to the rail as the field turns for home.
A furlong to the finish.
The incomparable, invincible, unbeatable Cigar! It's too close to call!
He is moving like a tremendous machine.
Wagering on horse racing just got a lot easier at Capital OTB with our newly designed state-of-the-art mobile wagering site. Everything you need is right here on one easy-to-navigate mobile platform. Set your favorite tracks, pick your horses, place your bets, all with a simple tap of the screen. Plus, you'll have access to Capital OTB TV for all our network programming. So log on to CapitalOTBBet.com and see just how easy wagering on horse racing can be.
Before the break, we are joined now by trainer Brad Cox. Always happy to talk to Brad. Good morning.
Good morning, Seth.
Happy to have you on board and talk a little bit about some of your stakes runners this afternoon at Churchill, but also go back to a couple of really nice comeback races you had over the past couple of weeks as well. But obviously, at this time of year, as we're having people on the show, I also want to check in and just go back the past couple of months, and given the situation with limited racing and whatnot, and you being a guy who has horses at various different venues, how did the past couple of months, in what ways did that affect your operation?
Well, I just slowed it down a tremendous amount, obviously, with the lack of racing, and it was business as usual of the mornings as far as training goes. Just once the training quieted down, we wasn't dealing with the racing offices near as much, or jock agents, or just some of the basic things we do on a normal basis with several tracks running. It just was a quiet. I'd say pretty much the month of April was pretty quiet for us. It was just oak lawn racing, and it kept us going. It's not enough really for the amount of horses we have, and obviously they don't have turf. So with Keeneland not running the month of April, it was kind of a little quieter than normal, to say the least.
And you had horses based down at Fairgrounds. What was the situation there? Because as Fairgrounds ended, a lot of tracks were at that point kind of saying, "Oh, we're not ready to open up yet. We're going to put that out in the future." And so, what happened with your horses at Fairgrounds? Did you just have to kind of stick around there longer than you normally would?
Yes, there were probably, I would say, between 10 and 15 horses there the month of April into the first week of May that would have normally obviously been out the end of March. Just was no place to go, and, was concerned with moving the help was, I think, the biggest concern, and lack of stabling up north, that forced our hands to obviously have to have some horses there at the fairgrounds probably 6-7 weeks longer than normal.
And are things kind of firming up more now from a trainer's perspective? In other words, are you now, with at least dates being set for most tracks, are you now getting the condition books that you can take a look at and start to really make some firmer plans?
Yeah, for sure. We've got options now. Obviously, we're running at Churchill, and Belmont starts Wednesday. And some other tracks are following suit and opening. I think Indiana's going to be a big boost for us just in the Midwest region, given Arlington hasn't announced anything yet. That'll take some of the pressure off Churchill with the entry. I mean, it's good that we have good entries, but sometimes it's, right now it's a little over the top with horses getting excluded. So once some of these other tracks like Indiana and Belterra, to name a few here in the Midwest, that'll kind of open it up for some different caliber horses, and claiming horses and whatnot. So we definitely need some more tracks running. But there's Churchill stepped up and played a big role in getting things rolling here mid-May.
Yeah, when you look at the PPs and you see a lot of number 20s in there, that does mean a lot of horses are on the outside looking in. I'm curious, because you have horses at so many locations, where were you kind of based over the past couple of months?
Well, Oaklawn and.
But I mean, you personally, where did you, or were you bouncing around?
No, mostly Keeneland.
Okay.
I was at Keeneland with a lot of young horses, and some of the better horses we were able to get them into Keeneland, and I made a run to Oaklawn. But that's kind of been, it's not been a lot of traveling, obviously, with everything going on. But that was mostly at Keeneland and Lexington. Very
good. All right, let's get to this afternoon, some of your stakes runners. First, we'll start in the winning colors, and we'll take a look at break even. We will look at her last race. That was down at Oaklawn, in fact, on April 18th. This was an allowance optional claiming event. She will be the number 6 horse, wins by a chart margin of 3 in here. So certainly she comes in good form. It's one of those third off the layoff races as well. She has a win over the Churchill Strip. Break even coming out of this race we're looking at Oaklawn. How'd she come out? How's she coming into this afternoon's winning colors?
She's training really well. She likes Churchill. She only has the one start there, but she's trained there a lot, so she's familiar with the track, and she's worked over it several times. And she's coming to this race really, really good order. I think the first race off the layoff was, the 5.5, a lot of speed in the race. Just didn't set up quite right. I think we rushed her a little bit to get her to that race, and it was good to take a step back with her and get her in good form last time. Like you said, third race off the layoff, we hope it's a positive. I think it will be. I think she set up for a big effort today.
Yeah, and you stepped out of Stakes Company last time. Now, was that because again, there were limited opportunities. So was that you wanted a confidence builder to step out of stakes company, or there just weren't any stakes available at that point?
Well, no, that they had the carousel that me and Mischief won. That was an option, but that race was sitting there, and I thought let's take a step back and get her some confidence. I mean, our first race as a 4-year-old was not a good one off the layoff, and the second one was a fantastic race, and she stepped up. She ran a big figure, and she'll need to do that again today. We like the timing between that allowance and the stakes race, and hopefully it sets up well for us today.
And are you a believer in third race off the layoff is typically a strong race?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's positive. I don't get into it too much. I mean, we train fairly aggressive of the morning, so I mean, I feel like we can have them sit ready to go off layoffs as well. But there's no substitute for a race. There's no doubt about it. And this will be her third off the layoff, and she's training well. So I mean, that's probably my biggest angle as far as going into this race with confidence is just how she's doing of the morning.
All right, let's move on to the Mint Julep. You have a couple coming off layoffs. Let's start with Juliet Foxtrot. Hasn't been seen since December 1st, running third in the Matriarch at Del Mar behind Got Stormy. I'm going to pull up a race, though, at Churchill Downs just about this time last year, just to watch her getting a win over the Churchill Strip. Seemed to appreciate the grass at Churchill Downs. She'll be the number 6 horse here. As I say, it's had some subsequent races since then, but since arriving from Europe, has been productive over here in the United States. Talk a little bit about Juliet Foxtrot, and again, hasn't been seen since December, so how's she coming off the layoff and coming into the race this afternoon?
She's coming into it in great shape. Her last 2 works at Keeneland have been phenomenal on the turf course, and she was given a layoff, the rest of December and January just to kind of chill out and be a horse. She had a long year last year, and she's been ready to go really since the 1st of April. She was a horse we were targeting for Keeneland. We had a race picked out for her, and obviously that didn't work out. So she's been ready a while. I feel like she's fit and ready to go. I think hopefully there may be a horse or two for her to track. She can relax early and finish strong down the lane. I think, if she gets a good trip, she'll be very effective today.
Any concern about the one post in a big field?
No, to be honest with you, if some of the horses on the outside want to, show some speed and cross over, it'll ultimately be up to Florent. But I'd like to see her tracking a couple horses, take some ground in the first turn, get her relaxed, and finish strong. I think she'll finish well. Like I said, she's been training really well. So, now honestly, I don't think it's a concern at all for one horse.
Right next to her in the 2-post position is Beau Recall, another horse coming off a layoff. This one a little bit longer, hasn't been seen since last September. But again, I'm going to pull up a race from about this time last year, the Churchill Distaff Turf Mile. Beau Recall will be the number 4 horse here, getting it done by a chart margin of over a length. How does Beau Recall come into this afternoon's race?
Really good. This filly did have a little more time off, but she's gotten ready really, really quick. We put her back into training in April, and she's responded really well. And I believe she's had like 5 works since her return with us, and she's gotten ready really quick. She's not a big filly, so that has a lot to do with her being able to get ready so quick. And the owners, they didn't pressure me at all to run her. They asked me about it. I said, she's getting ready really quick and she's doing well. And I think she could get a good setup today. She likes the turf course there at Churchill. She only has the 1 start on it, and she beat some extremely good horses that day. So I'm hoping with a good trip she'll be there as well.
Yeah, they both look like solid contenders in there. I think all your horses very solid this afternoon. As I noted at the top of the interview, I wanted to go back the past couple of weeks as you've had a couple of comebackers of note. Most notably was Monomoy Girl, who came back in the allowance optional claimer back on May 16th. Hadn't been seen prior to that November of 2018, so away the entire 2019 season, and we were all anxiously awaiting her return, and she got it done, I thought, very impressively. She'll be the number 2 horse here and makes the move in the stretch and opens up. Red Dane makes a little bit of ground late, but not in a threatening way. The chart margin wound up just under 3 lengths. What were your impressions of the comeback race as the trainer and having had her there and sat out that 2019 season? Your impression? We're watching her come down the stretch here. This is a really nice, from a fan's perspective, a nice performance. But as the trainer and knowing her as well as you do, what were your thoughts on the comeback effort?
I'm super proud of her. I mean, just Brian did a good job of letting her settle up the backside. She was in tight, surrounded by horses. She relaxed given the circumstances. I thought she relaxed well enough given the circumstances. And then when he started looking for, place to navigate through it to 3/8 pole, he's able to use her and get her in position. And turning for home, I felt confident. She was in hand and was making the lead, and I thought, this is exactly what really couldn't have drawn it up any better. So I was extremely proud of her and Laurent, the job they did, and the whole team, the owners, the groom, the exercise rider, everybody involved with getting this filly back. It was a big accomplishment, and it was honestly a little bit of a relief. I mean, I think there was definitely some doubt as to if she would come back, and her figures, they received some nice figures out of the race, and hopefully those are some numbers she can build off of, and I think she'll have to build off of to be competitive at the Grade 1 level moving forward this year. But we actually breathed her this morning, and I do think she's moving forward. She breathed extremely well. Very happy with the way she worked, how she cooled out, and very positive. And hopefully that was the start of a big year for her.
Yeah, I mean, just hats off to the connections for keeping her in training. She's one of those horses that's fun to root for, and it was great to see her come back. Steady string of workouts, really nice workouts at Keeneland coming into it. You say she was on the track this morning. Back over at Keeneland?
No, she's at Churchill.
Churchill?
She stayed at Churchill after the race, and she, it's home for her. That's where she's done the bulk of her training throughout her career, and she's very comfortable with that surface, and we're comfortable seeing her on that surface as well. So it worked out well for us in 2018, and hopefully it'll carry over to 2020.
Do you have anything in mind next for her?
The Ogden Tips is a possibility. We'll talk it over with the owners as we get a little closer. They're pretty good. They're really good. They don't. I've told them from the outset or since the last race, let's just kind of watch her train over the next few weeks and get it. Let her tell us what she's doing, how she's feeling, and where we need to go. Because she'll let you know, and we're going to kind of see how these races shape up. That would be the first race available that we would look at. But like I said, we're not definitely going to say we're going to go there until we see a little more out of her over the next week or so.
All right, let's move on to one more comebacker that did very well just last week at Churchill in the Blame. We're going to look at number 8, Owendale, beating really a salty field of 12 in here. Gets it done. I was pretty happy with the $9 mutual price. But Owendale, I liked the horse off the second in the Clark last year, and it just seemed like some of those 3-year-olds from last year have turned into really nice 4-year-olds this year. And it wasn't going to surprise me coming out of the second place finish between Tom's Day Tot and Mr. Freeze in the Clark that Owendale was one of those horses that would move forward in the 4-year-old season. What were your thoughts on his comeback? We're watching him here coming on the outside, the number 8. Nice late run to get up to win by half a length in last week's Blame. Your thoughts?
Huge effort. Very proud of the horse. We trained on him. He'd gotten ready quick. He had a setback after the Clark. We took a small chip out of an ankle and gave him time here in Kentucky. He showed up mid-March to Keeneland, ready to start training. He got ready pretty quick. Was training extremely well. Breezed twice with Monomoy Girl, actually, and breezed heads up with her. They look fantastic working together twice. And honestly, after Monomoy Girl ran the way she did, it gave us a lot of confidence that this horse would run well. I'm not going to say win because we do feel he's a 2-turn horse, but he obviously did mind the cutback, and he got a good pace to run at and finish well. And, this was a race we were using as a prep for the Stephen Foster or, the Matt Mile. So, he come out of it in good shape. We'll hopefully get a plan with him some point mid-June as to what race we'll go to next. But it was a big effort and very proud of the horse.
That's interesting. So the Met Mile might be on the agenda.
Well, given that he was successful at the one-turn mile there at Churchill, I mean, it's something that we'll look at. But at the end of the day, I do think he is a two-turn horse. But just kind of have to see how the pace looks in some of those races and just figure it out. And he does like Churchill. He's obviously won the Blame and was the big race in the Clark last year. So we're just going to kind of see how the races come up over the next few weeks and go from there.
All right. Well, again, two nice comebackers, and you have a nice trio of horses this afternoon to look forward to as well. We wish you a lot of luck there and going forward with the big horses. Brad, always appreciate the conversation. We will talk again.
Sounds good, Seth. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Brad Cox, again, live in the stakes this afternoon at Churchill, and clearly live last week and a couple weeks back. Monomoy Girl and Owendale, really nice comeback efforts. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Dave Rodman, Laurel, back on the agenda. Maryland Racing comes back. We're always happy at this point in the situation when a new track comes on board, and Maryland will start up this afternoon. We'll talk a little bit about that. Set the table with Dave Rodman right after this. Stay tuned.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, joined now by our friend Dave Rodman, the track announcer down at Laurel, as they are coming back this afternoon. Dave, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Seth. Great to be back at Laurel Park, and it's a beautiful day to come back, too. Fast, firm, I mean, just absolutely stunning weather here in Maryland.
Happy to have Maryland back in the mix, and I'll ask how happy you are. I was hunkered down as well with the rules up here in New York. I left the studio at the end of March and came back and fired up the programming last weekend, and I was very happy to get in, and I assume you're happy to get back in the announcer's booth.
Yeah, you know, it feels like we've been off for like longer than really the couple of months, and eager to get back and call. Just remember, I hope I remember how to do it.
I was going to ask you, are you going to have to get the pipes back in shape? You doing some voice exercises?
I mean, we've gone from no turf and average 7-8 horse fields, say, to now full fields on the grass. So that's really the only adjustment, you know, coming back with full fields. And I mean, every race really, when you look at the overnights for the next 3 days, I think there's only one dirt race with less than 10 in it.
I hadn't thought about that, but certainly at Churchill, with limited opportunities, Gulfstream really for the past couple of months, Churchill certainly, and you guys with the PPs I'm looking at now, big full fields. And as a bettor, I'm applauding that. But as a track announcer, you pull up the stack of PPs, and all of a sudden, that's an obstacle certainly.
Yeah, a little intimidated by looking at the overnight, but now that you got the form in front of you, you know, you remember the names and their styles, and who they ran against and kind of trouble they got in. It kind of comes back to you. It'll be fine, especially with a great day like we have here weather-wise.
I'm curious, a couple of months off, is this probably the longest break you've had in, a long time, I would imagine?
Yeah, I would think going back to maybe 2000, around 14 or 15 in that era, when I think we didn't run that one summer. And I remember going out to do California fairs at Sacramento and at Pleasanton that summer. So, it's been a long time. But, the people in the backstretch, the horsemen, they haven't missed a beat. Horses have been training here all along. And some horsemen, I know, like Huron McGee, for instance, is basically a claiming type trainer. He turned a lot of the horses that he owns, trains out for a while on the farm. But no lack of horses here at Laurel Park. It's been a packed house almost every morning, and especially the last few weeks in anticipation of live racing coming back.
Interesting. Are there protocols for you and other people who are going to be working on the front side?
We have a list of protocols, mask through the building and, like social distancing, which is not hard to do since it's spectatorless racing, but, you run into your coworkers quite a bit, and a temperature check when we come in, and questionnaires. It's a pretty long list of things that we have to do, but I'm socially distanced anyway up on the roof.
I was going to say.
I'm kind of used to the loner life, so to speak, up there. It's just me, the photo finish guy, and the camera person.
I'm curious, with the new Triple Crown schedule, Belmont June 20th, the Kentucky Derby the first Saturday in September, and the Preakness at Pimlico on October 3rd. I'm curious, you had to have thought of this. You have the chance, probably for what will be the only time in your career, you potentially have the chance to call a Triple Crown winner. I'm assuming that has passed your mind.
Yes, it has, and who would have thought, right? Who would have thought that scenario would ever play out? You can come up with 1,000 different scenarios, and but that was farthest thing from my mind. Yeah, it's going to be a different year already, but pretty exciting for the prospect of possibly calling the third leg of the Triple Crown at Pimlico.
Yeah, I'm rooting for you. Just get one horse through the first two. I think it'd be fabulous just for racing. It'd be fun for you.
It would.
Yeah,
it would. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about Laurel this weekend and what the schedule is for this Laurel meet.
Yeah, that's interesting because we were maybe planning on coming back yesterday, Friday, but that did not happen. We didn't get Racing Commission approval until Thursday afternoon at the Thursday meeting there. So when the condition book came out, they just basically put 15 racing days out with no days. So because we've been off for so long and there's a pent-up demand, they're going to race 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday this week. And then next week, come back with Friday, Saturday, and Monday. Then after that, it's basically 2 days a week.
So this weekend, Friday, Saturday, this week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Next week, Friday, Saturday, Monday.
Yeah. You got me confused now. I got to look at the calendar. But this week is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and that should be a great handle on Monday. Big fields again on Monday afternoon on the turf. The weather's looking good. The handle is going to be monstrous on Monday afternoon. Not a lot of places running on Monday afternoon. We're one of probably maybe the only major track afternoon.
And when you go to the 2 days, it's Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday?
I've heard it's Friday, Saturday. I'm going to look up the actual calendar right now. We're just excited to be back to day one at this point, right?
Yeah, no, I completely just remembering the day of the week over the past couple of months has been tough to do.
Here we go. I've got the calendar in front of me. I just want to download so I don't give you the false information. We are running live today and Sunday, and and Monday. And then next week will be Friday, Saturday, off Sunday, then Monday.
Okay.
And then the following week, beginning on June 12th, it'll be 12th, 13th, so Friday, Saturday, and a Friday, Saturday all the way through.
Very good.
Through August 22nd, which is technically the end of the Laurel Summer Meet, which would dovetail into Timonium. I don't know anything really yet about Timonium, what's going to happen there. But those are the days that were approved yesterday by Maryland Racing Commission. So it's 3 days, then 2 all the way through August 22nd.
Excellent. All
right,
very good.
Now, this all could change, depending on handle and the reintroduction, I think, eventually here in a week or two. I would think, don't know anything in concrete, that the slot machines would open back in Maryland, the casinos would be open, and a lot of our purse money is derived from casinos. So we're playing cautious on the purse account, and that's why we're 2 days a week. We want to continue to offer, high purses and good quality and big fields, and I think that's going to do the trick for now.
Yeah, and I said that earlier in the show. People should keep in mind this whole situation is fluid, and things can move for the better very easily as the summer or the spring into the summer progresses here. So we'll keep our eyes. But right now, just good to have Maryland back, being one of the more important jurisdictions in the country. Let's take a look at some.
Monday. Just remember those Mondays are going to be big here. June 1, June 8. That's going to be a signal that everybody's going to watch.
Yeah, we were looking the other day, and with a couple of the smaller tracks having closed, Fowler and Will Rogers, we were looking what Monday would have. But you provide a couple of nice Mondays coming up. But Saturday racing back today. Nice card. We'll delve into a little bit of that. First, give us a little update on what the weather looks like.
Oh, just like perfect. Just warm temperatures in 70s, upper 70s, and sunny skies, just few clouds, fast, firm. Great day to come back for opening. And that turf course is brand new. Nobody's run on it since last year. So we're anxious to get back to turf racing. A lot of the horsemen are, too.
And it's a really nice turf course down there at Laurel as well. Third race today, maiden 10 claimers going 6 furlongs, field of 12 with a couple of also eligibles. These are always tough races because, we're kind of at the bottom of the level here, and none of them are really jumping off the page. But Yes Man, if you're a buyer's guy, Yes Man has some decent buyers and gets maybe a little class relief. Rare Notion, I think, is going to take the action, given the buyers for that one, but hasn't been seen in well over a year. So there's some question marks on the fitness maybe there for the Catherine Voss runner. But what did you think in the third?
The Yes Man is a horse who loves to run second. And certainly the one to beat. Actually, I think I gave you the wrong race that we were going to look at, Seth. My apologies. I wanted the second race was a spotlight race.
All right, let's go back to that. Let's go back to the second, and I'm just turning my page here.
I got it. So many PPs here on my iPad. In a quick glance, I gave you the wrong race.
Conditional claimer, 14 level, and on the grass. But once again, a nice full field of 10 with 5 also eligibles. So one way or the other, we'll get that field of 10 in the second race.
All right. Yeah, I said, I'm going to go here with Claudio Gonzalez and a horse called Trois Ponts. Hasn't run since October of last year. Here's a horse, the old hard luck story. When you follow a horse, you put them on stable mail, you play them, they lose, you play them, they lose, you play them, then lose, and then they win. And, of course, naturally, the only time you didn't wager on them was the time they won. This is a story of Trois Ponts, Chapter 1 was right off the claim. At 11-1, the nonchalant 7th just kind of galloped around the back of the field. A little bit of trouble, broke outwardly, but no significant trouble. Better run, second off the claimer, and third, beating a couple of lengths on the Laurel turf. Third race seemed to regress a little bit, back to just mediocre form behind Avocado. And then, of course, the fourth time, when I said I've had enough, here she comes, Trois Ponts, up in the nick of time in a photo finish at 14-1 on a Claudio Gonzalez horse. Unbelievable. So she's been off. I think she's got some talent. I remember spotting her back at Pimlico on Heavenly Hattie on the grass the day that she was claimed on Lim Ashby's barn there in the Claudio Gonzalez barn. Finished with plenty of interest and then flattened out a little bit late in the game. And had a bunch of troubles first out back May 3rd at Laurel, and I thought it was a great claim. But, she's really turned out to be an okay filly at this level, and that's where she comes back at 16,000 off the layoff. I'm going to try Trois Ponts today, see if I can get some of that 0-for-3 loss back from the June, July, and August races.
Yeah, and Dave, we have all been there. We're married,
Yeah,
we're married.
right.
Just when we get divorced is when they turn it around.
Yeah.
We have all been there. Fourth race today, maiden specials on the grass, and the Trombetta horse, the Live Oak horse, looks interesting to me. Pretty fast in here. Has been down at Gulfstream for a couple of races and comes back up here for, as I say, Trombetta and Live Oak. So pretty and fast, looks good in here. But again, another very full field in race number 4. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to use that filly with the blinkers on and the barn. Her figures look solid. She's coming from Gulfstream back to Laurel. She ran well in this at this track last year in the mud, on the dirt, an okay race on the turf, and now adding the blinkers for Trombetta. But I really like a filly number 9. Why like this? A Street Sense filly for Kelly Rubley. Her debut at Laurel last year as a 2-year-old caught the eye. She was in a little bit of subtle traffic trouble through the stretch with a willing effort comment there, October. And then she just was flat when they shipped her up to New York in early November. Gave her a little bit of time away. Came back at Tampa, adding the blinkers, and just got beat at almost 7-1 that day. And today they're going back with the blinkers off, back to game plan 1, back to the Laurel turf course here. I think she's primed, sitting on a big effort, hoping for a good traffic-free trip today for a why like this, number 9 in the 4th.
Going to be interesting to see with a lot of these jockeys having been on the sideline, who kind of comes back and potentially maybe is a little bit hot on the jockey side. 5th race today, B-level 5,000 claimers going 5.5. Again, another big full field in here of sprinters. Your thoughts on the 5th?
Yeah, well, there we go. We mentioned earlier, horses coming off the layoff. Kieran McGee turned out of a lot of his horses. I'm not sure whether this is one of the horses that he turned out during the break or not, because it's not a Kieran McGee owned trained horse. It was a claim for owner Tim Hopkins. It's Smokin' Hot Factor, a horse who I thought a little bit potential on the dirt, going on the way back. Horses, past performances don't really appear on your racing form. Bounced around from barn to barn for Rodolfo Sanchez Salomon, and then to Michael Merriman's barn. They didn't get a win out of him, and they dropped him in for a nickel. And Salomon claimed him back, seemingly getting him back to decent form off the claim. And then here comes Kieran with the claim box in February. He's got sneaky good form, and I know if he's sharp enough off this layoff with early speed, and I think he's cranked up with some good works at Pimlico, he'll be a forward factor in here. I mean, take a shot with him today. Smokin' Hot Factor off of good races, back form on the dirt that are really not on your running line.
4-1 on the morning line, yeah. And again, with these big full fields, there is going to be a lot of value to be had in these races. The 7th at Laurel, $8,000 plain vanilla claimers. They will also go 5.5 furlongs.
Yeah, this is a tough race. I mean, a kind of a spread race if you're playing pick 5, pick 6. But at 8-1, if you're getting that morning line, and Trevor McCarthy on Lord Simba for Jamie Ness. Here's a horse that was claimed back in November last year. It was on a bit of a roll at Parks during the winter, notching a non-winner of 4. I won an open $8,000 claimer there, stepped him up to 12.5 and ran just okay. But then came to Laurel here after that effort against 12.5 claimers in a very sharp effort at 7 furlongs, was beaten only half length, set right off of a sharp duel that day, and ran ultra game that day at 10-1. Now he's shortening up to 5.5 off time away. So I don't know, it may be a little short for him, but I think he's going to come rocking late in the stretch. The horse with the kick here, the 7-year-old Lord Simba. At first glance, you're thinking, well, maybe he's a horse for the Parks course, but that hint that he ran well here back in March before we had time away, a third-place finish in a sharp race, I think, cranks him to be in the right spot today. And, Trevor is going to be rocking and rolling and never quit to the very end. Good workouts, too, for Lord Simba off the time at Delaware. And then they, just a maintenance breeze at the training center there on May 25th.
Where is that? The MTC?
That's a good question. I kind of.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Definitely avoided that. I have my list of training centers. I have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that one before. The 8th at Laurel, optional claimer, non-winners at 3. A quick 5.5 on the grass. And I will say, years ago when these turf sprints became popular, I didn't like them at all. But now there is such a database, and they become so popular and so common. Now I really like the turf sprints.
Yeah, well, Arnaud Delacour's got 2 in there. That's LEB, the 6 at 3-1. Coming off a stakes-placed effort at Woodbine and Time Away, Pioneer of the Nile filly for Audley Farm. And he's also got a filly on the outside who's got a lot of talent, Ode to Joy. I'm going to go with a higher price one. That's Ode to Joy with Sheldon Russell up off of a 4th-place finish, a little Tampa stake there, beating a length and a half. I think the shorten up's going to be just the perfect spot for her, sprinting on the turf off Time Away. Always liked this filly and her running style. I think by the time they get to the far turn, there's enough speed to her inside. Well, she'll be no more than maybe 2-3 lengths off the lead outside in the clear. And make that move around the turn and hopefully can sustain and carry on. So Delacour's got 2 in here. Going to go with the higher priced one outside, Ode to Joy, using a great time as well if you're looking for an exacta mix. A horse that's kind of in the runner-up mode on the Laurel turf. 3 seconds on the Laurel grass from 6 tries from the Trombetta barn.
Very good. So looking forward to the return of Laurel today and the return of the Dave Rodman pipes out there. And what was now I've forgotten the DJ name. I want to say something like Jacks with the Stacks or what?
It was probably would have been a better one. Yeah, whether it was Jacks with the Stacks with the Stacks of Wax. No, Marty with a Party.
Marty with the, no, I like yours better from the old DJ days. But again, looking forward to the Dave Rodman calls down at Laurel, getting back in the mix. And Dave, always enjoy the conversation. We'll talk again.
Okay, Seth, it's good hearing you again. I did see your picture up there on the Capital OTB tweet feed the other day, so I know you're back. Yeah,
I'm back. I'm back, baby, and so are you. And looking forward to it.
All right, have a good luck, everybody.
Dave, take it easy. Thanks, Dave Rodman down at Laurel again. Maryland racing back in the mix, and slowly but surely we're working back in, and great news for horse racing fans. But again, with still limited opportunities. There are nice full fields. I've said this at Churchill for the past couple of weeks. With these nice full fields we're seeing, there is a lot of opportunity out there. The pick bets are paying well. Win bets are paying well. I mean, don't ignore. You look up at the board and your favorite horse is 4-1. Don't ignore a $10 price there. So have some fun today at Laurel as they get in the mix as well. We'll have them on the afternoon programming. Do let me remind you, I've been saying it during the afternoon for a couple of weeks now, but I certainly want to reiterate, we would love to have you join us in the afternoons with some of the fun of playing along. To do that, you have to have an account. Again, given the current situation right now, none of our branches are open, but you can wager online, your cell phone, your tablet, your computer. You can take advantage of the sign-up bonus. If you sign up now, go to capitalotb.com or capitalotbbet.com. Click on the join link or sign up and fill in all the appropriate information. Take advantage of the sign-up and put in either $50 or $100 for your initial deposit. As soon as you wager double that amount, you get that initial deposit put back into your account by Capital OTB. So a little free money available there as a thank you and a sign-up bonus to new account holders. But by all means, jump on board. The learning curve, I said this before, if you're a sports bettor or casino, poker, or blackjack, and those opportunities aren't available right now, jump on board and play some horses because, talking to folks who play sports or poker or blackjack, I think a lot of the same mental puzzles are being solved in your mind when you're handicapping the horses. Plenty of opportunities. You can play for a couple of bucks or you can jump in for a big amount. And you can look to win, turn your $2 into $10, or you can look to turn 20 cents in a rainbow bet into $200,000. I mean, there are all kinds of wagers available with all kinds of price points to play and get returns on. I think you'll have a lot of fun trying to solve the puzzles every day at the various racetracks. The learning curve is not extensive. Take my word for it. And the horse racing community is very generous helping out new people. You can check Twitter and handicappers, watch our programming, and Get some information there. If you become a member, you get free past performances. You can watch replays to help your handicapping. But certainly we would love to have you jump on board and join us. And again, if you're intimidated, thinking, oh, I got to play on the computer, very easy interface, self-explanatory pretty much. You'll be able to figure that out. You can also go old school and bet via touch-tone phone. There are touch-tone wagering options available where you get a menu and press 1 for this track and press such and such to make this bet and whatnot. You see the number there, 1-800-233-0375. Again, if you do feel intimidated with the technology, you can go old school with the touch tone as well. Also do want to mention some of our Easy Bet branches are open currently. You can't go and hang out for the afternoon, but you can stop by, put in a wager or pre-bet some of your bets for the afternoon if you'd like to do that. Loopy's Pub in Fonda, Partners Pub in Johnstown. They're closed on Sundays and Mondays. Well, it says Sundays and Mondays this weekend, according to what I have. But you can check there. Check ahead. Partners Pub in Johnstown. O'Toole's on Central Avenue. They are a Thursday, Friday, Saturday schedule right now. Lakeview and Averill Park, Sampson's in Castleton, and Mijos in Marathon. They also Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And don't forget, these are all restaurants/pubs as well as being Easy Bet locations. So go in and help them out by grabbing some food as well. Get a little takeout while you visit them and bring it home and have a little grub to chow down on while you enjoy the programming here in the afternoon. Speaking of the afternoon, I will be back with OTB Live in about an hour or so, a little over an hour, I would think. We'll have Tampa, we'll have Gulfstream, we will have Churchill, and we'll have Laurel today. So a lot of great fun action this afternoon. Thanks to the guests this morning, Dave Rodman from Laurel Park, Brad Cox with a trio of nice runners at Churchill Downs and stakes action this afternoon. And we started things out the owner's perspective, past couple of months and going forward as well. That from West Point Thoroughbreds, Terry Finley. So we appreciate the time for all of the guests. We mostly appreciate you tuning in and joining us. Always fun. We will kick off the Racing Across America Sunday morning edition tomorrow morning. Last week we got the rust out last weekend with only the Saturday morning show. But this week we'll jump in tomorrow morning as well at 10 a.m. But as I said, I'll be back in about an hour or so with OTB Live for a Saturday afternoon. So stay tuned. We'll see you in a little.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Offtrack Betting.